It's time for the Ella Johnson Show. Thanks for tuning in to the Ella Johnson Show, where there are two sides to every story. Enjoy the broadcast. Stay tuned. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Ella Johnson Show. I'm your host, Ella Johnson, and I am so excited that you have decided to tune in with me tonight on this live Thursday broadcast. Well, listen, I want to welcome you. If this is your first time, welcome to the show, right? I'm excited. This is Monroe County Uncovered, and if you don't know, it's Monroe County, Alabama that we're talking about. If you're watching from Facebook, thank you. Do me a favor and share. Just hit that share button for me, because we need this broadcast to just go everywhere. I want you to like the broadcast. If you're enjoying the broadcast, like the broadcast. I want you to be in tune with us tonight. Ask questions, make comments, whatever the case may be. If you're watching from YouTube, thank you. Thanks to all of you who have already subscribed to my channel. But I want to get more. I want to get at least 1,000 subscribers. So you guys help me out with that. So if you're watching podcasts on Facebook, that's great, but I want you to go over to YouTube also after the broadcast, if you will, and just subscribe to my channel, okay? I would appreciate that. So I don't know where you guys are watching from tonight, but if you are in Alabama, hello, Georgia, Texas, wherever you are tuning in, we appreciate you. And I want you to know that tonight we're going to have a real conversation. That's why I just wanted me to be here tonight, so that we can just talk, just us, so that we can get to where we need to be in this case. And whenever you bring comments, I'm going to bring your comments up here on the screen like this. So I want you guys to do that. Please bring your comments, and I'm going to bring them up here so that everyone can see them. And I can thank you for following from Liberia. Look at that, guys, all the way in West Africa. I love it. Kim says, watching from Atlanta. I love it. Thank you. Franklin in the house. Okay. I appreciate that. Thank you all so much from wherever you are. Listen, we're going to have a full broadcast tonight. So I want y'all to buckle in, because welcome to Monroe County Uncovered. Tonight, we're talking about a case that has captured the attention of Monroe County and people all across Alabama. The SBI has completed its investigation into the death of Tee Tunstall. The investigation is no longer in the hands of investigators. It is now in the hands of Monroe County's DA, Todd Watson. Now, tonight isn't about rumors. It's not what we do here. It isn't about emotions or anything like that. It's about understanding what happens next. These are the questions I want you to think about. What does the district attorney have to review? What legal standard must be met before charges can be filed? What options are available? And what does justice look like under the law, right? These are the questions and the things that we want to attack tonight, because we need to talk about it. Now, we're going to walk through the process, discuss the facts that have been made public, right? That's the stuff we're going to talk about. And we're going to have an honest conversation about transparency, accountability, and the responsibilities that come with this moment. Everyone, including those of you who are watching, everyone has a part to play in this, because from this point, it gets real. Because we've been waiting on this investigation. Every week we come, everybody's like, Ella, where's the investigation? SBI still has it. Ella, where's the investigation? SBI still has it. SBI doesn't have it anymore. Now it's all on Monroe County and the DA, who's sitting with all of the evidence and everything they need to look at to make a decision. Now, what I want to show you guys, the reason, because today I did post this. It was the letter that I received from the Department of Forensic Sciences. This is the letter. I put the subscribe thing there because I don't want y'all to know my address. Sorry. But yes, this is the letter. Because what happens is I requested a copy of the report from Forensic Sciences. I wanted to get the report for Ermarin, right? And I requested it. And they came back and they said, access denied right up front. However, we need to look and see if the DA, what they're going to do to decide if you get the report or not. This is the letter that came after that, where they said this. And for those of you that don't know the part I'm really talking about, this is it. This is the part I want you to pay attention. They're returning my request, and they're saying that the district attorney, Todd Watson, has notified the Alabama Department of Forensic Sciences that this case remains under criminal investigation. So whenever that happens, that means you do not have access to that report. So he is acknowledging that this is under criminal investigation. The big task is, what is he going to charge? Who is he going to charge? And all of that. Now, I want you guys, there's some things I want to go through tonight, but I want to go directly through what happens now, what got us to this point and what happens next. I want to get through all of that because I want to make sure that before you leave tonight, you have a clear understanding of what this now means. Okay. So, because I know there's a lot of legal jargon going around and people are talking, but I'm going to give it to you as plain as day here on the Ella Johnson Show. And I'm going to make sure that you guys stay informed. Okay. So what has happened so far? SBI investigated. They gathered their evidence. They interview witnesses. They collect video forensic evidence and reports. They submit everything to the DA. So what that means is that when the SBI had it, and the reason they had it for 90 days, they were talking to witnesses, people that were out there that day, forensic. They're looking at that the medical examiners. They want to see what was Tee's body like when he died. What happened to him? You can tell a lot by going through that autopsy. They've seen that. They've seen all the body cam footage, whatever footage. Hopefully they saw the footage from the jail. Everything that was turned over, they investigated. They gave it to the SBI, to the DA. Now, they did say what caused Tee's death. I am aware of it, but I cannot disclose that information tonight because I was asked not to, okay? And I want to be respectful to the process because we need to keep everything under wraps until they're ready to reveal. I don't want to get ahead of the lawyers. So is that good? All right. So then what happens next? Now it's in the hands of the district attorney. Now let's talk about what his responsibilities are, okay? He has to ask, was a crime committed? What do you guys think? Y'all saw the video. Was a crime committed? Next thing they have to ask, is there enough evidence? Because before the DA can charge anyone with a crime, they have to have enough evidence that they feel like they can get a conviction. And therein lies what they decide to charge with is what fits where they think they can get a conviction. Does that make sense? So now they got to look at all that evidence, get amongst themselves and say, you know what do we feel like? What charge goes with the evidence we got? In other words, can every element of a crime be proven? Remember, that's what they have to do. They have to prove that a crime existed and it was these particular people that did it. Can the case be proven beyond a reasonable doubt? So that's what's on the DA's mind when he got this report. He's combing through all of the evidence and he's asking himself these questions. Now, I talked a little bit about what he's reviewing because I want to make sure we get through all of these. What evidence is the DA reviewing? The SBI investigative report, the autopsy report, toxicology report, medical records, officer interviews, civilian witnesses, body camera video, surveillance video, expert opinions. Okay. They have to consider all of that. And like I said, I hope they have a video of that, what we all saw, that video is the reason we know that the statement made by the Monroeville Police Department was garbage. Okay. We all saw that. We're going to bring that up tonight too. I want y'all to see that, because when you look at her statement and then you look at what we saw in that video, it's like, did you see the video first before you guys made this statement? But listen, their job is to create a narrative. And in creating a narrative, that means they're trying to shape your view of what happened. This is something where a man died in police custody in Monroeville. They don't want a riot. They don't want people to start rioting and doing all kinds of stuff, looting. They don't want any kind of issues like that. So they got to downplay it to make you feel like we didn't do anything wrong. He just died, right? So we know better. What charges could be considered? Now, I can't say what they're going to do. The prosecutor evaluates whether the facts support the offenses. So what we could possibly be looking at: criminally negligent homicide, manslaughter, murder, assault, and other applicable offenses. So you're looking at this is what you could be looking at here. So remember that the evidence determines the charge, not public opinion. Obviously, I'm sure that the DA is going to be talking, and he's probably even looking at stuff on Facebook and trying to see if maybe he can find some more evidence. Because you know how sometimes people will say things, but we're going to get into some of that stuff that I think the DA should definitely consider. Some things that were brought out on this show. For one, well, we'll get to that. Let me get through this first. All right. What is the DA looking for? He must determine who did what. Now, y'all remember there were 4 officers out there. There were 3, the lady that was in front, the 2 men that were dragging him, and the one that was waiting at the car. We've heard 5, but I just only saw those 4. He has to decide who actually did what, who was responsible, who hurt T, who put whatever marks or bruises that may have been on his body, who did that. Well, for one, the body cam footage should be able to determine that. So they have to look at all the evidence and decide who did what. Another thing they have to think about is, was the force lawful? I can answer that one. Please, y'all know how when you're in class and they ask a question, your hand goes up first, mine goes up first on this one. Was the force lawful? You have to think about it. If you understand what the 14th Amendment is about, you understand that everyone has a duty to care. They have a duty. The police officers have a duty to offer care to anyone that is in need of a medical emergency. I don't care what they did. I don't care if you just saw them murder someone. If they're having a heart attack, your job is to make sure they get assistance. Okay? And that's not even what happened here, but you have to do that. And from the video and from a witness that was on the Ella Johnson show, based on her testimony, and I'm talking about Selena, who was on the scene, she was able to provide information on this show, the state of mind of the officers while they were dragging T, yes, what happened after they put him in the vehicle, and what didn't have to happen after they put him in the vehicle. That was discussed here on the Ella Johnson show. So I'm more than willing, DA, to hand over my video for that. I have that. I'll give it to you in real time. It's not edited or anything. That was part of the testimony that was here on the Ella Johnson show. And what I'm talking about, when Selena said that she saw that the conversation she had with those officers out there, and the fact that they stood around after they put T in that vehicle, and the fact that they left Marengo Street and didn't go the way that you would go to the jail. They went toward Pineview first and then turned around and came back. Like, why was there so much delay? So this is what happens, guys, when it gets to a case like this. They want qualified immunity. All officers do. They need that because that protects them from having to go to prison for doing their job, so to speak. You know, like they want to make it justify what they did to T by saying this had to happen because of what he did. So we didn't go outside of our job. We did our job and we shouldn't be prosecuted for it. That's what qualified immunity is. But here's the thing. Qualified immunity only gets you so far. There are certain things you can't do to gain qualified immunity. And one of those is excessive force. And one of those is like maybe death by asphyxiation, right? So why do you think Mandy had to make it seem like he was okay when he got in that vehicle? Because then it would take the attention off of the police. And why do you think they made it known about the Narcan? Because they wanted to put the attention on T. We didn't do anything. Maybe he was on drugs. We had to give him Narcan. You see? It's all a play on words, guys. All right? What could happen next? No, we're still on the what is the DA looking for? The DA must determine, did someone's actions cause the death? Was there anyone out there that day that did something that caused T's death? If you're talking about asphyxiation and that being one of the causes of his death, allegedly, throwing him in the backseat of a car face down, that don't cut it. That doesn't pass the smell test. That means that led to his death. Just saying, if that's what happened here. Was there criminal negligence? That's another question. Was anyone reckless? Can the facts be proven in court? I think the closest thing that the DA will have to bring this case where it needs to be is that video. The video says a lot. The video, witness statements that were out there on the scene. I think it's important. When Selena talked about the state of mind, that's important, guys. And I'm not a lawyer, not by any stretch of the imagination, but I just know that state of mind matters, okay? Because then that will determine whether or not you were being a police or were you being personal. So his state of mind and the comments that he made to her, the fact that they threw him in the car face down, that matters a lot too. Now, many people believe that T was dead when they put him in that car. That's just what I've heard from a lot of people. Now, what could happen next? These are possible outcomes. Like I said, if you're just tuning into the Ella Johnson show, I'm going through everything, what it means now that the DA has it, what they have to decide, what they're looking at. And then we're going to get into more conversation, okay? But I got to get through this because it's important that my viewers understand what happens next, okay? Several outcomes are possible. Number one, the DA files criminal charges. Option two, the DA investigators ask the investigators for additional work before making a decision. In other words, he could have his investigators do a little bit more searching before he decides what he wants to do. Number three, the DA presents the matter to a grand jury, if appropriate, under Alabama law. Okay. Option four, the DA decides not to pursue criminal charges. Not to pursue. You guys understand what I'm saying when I say that? That means that the DA has the option, just because the forensics may feel a certain way about what they saw. There are cases where people were let's just pretend it's a homicide. Let's just pretend that they said it's homicide or something like that. I have some examples to show you that just because you have that kind of ruling that they think that he died by homicide doesn't mean that the DA will follow up with charges. I know that's a tough pill to swallow, but that's real talk. That's why I'm here. And that's why it's so important for people that know something, say something. I can't say that again. If you know something, this is the time to say something. Your DA needs to have any information that you may have about this case that you kind of haven't said to anybody, because that information will decide whether or not they file criminal charges, okay? Does a homicide ruling automatically mean charges? I just said that. No. No, medical examiners will determine the cause of death and the manner of death, but the DA determines whether criminal charges can be proven. How long could this take? Because, see, I wanted to ask all the questions that I thought maybe you guys would want to know. How long could this take? There is usually no fixed deadline for the DA to make a charging decision. The timeline depends on the complexity of the evidence, okay, and any additional investigation that the DA believes is necessary. So let's hope they don't drag this out, but we want them to do what's necessary to get all the information and the evidence they need regarding this case. What does accountability look like? What that means is, guys, what do you think it's going to take in Monroeville to make this right? Like, you have to have been thinking. We've had enough time to think about everything surrounding this case. What is it that you want? Okay, better yet, what is it that you need? Okay. Criminal prosecution. Yeah. Yeah. Criminal prosecution is definitely at the top of the list. Someone has to pay for what happened to this young man. Everybody sees it, DA. Everybody knows that something needs to happen here. It's obvious that these officers did not follow police protocol. It is obvious. And I don't even have to say it is obvious that they did not follow proper police protocol and how they handle. Number one, they did not get him medical care immediately. I don't know what they were waiting on. Okay, they didn't. There was nothing done to him that it appears in that video. Internal discipline. Yes, absolutely. Internal discipline. Every officer that was out there that day, there should have been some kind of discipline, reprimand to them, something. We saw that they had a leave of absence. I don't know how long it lasted. What, 2 days, 3 days, 2 weeks, whatever it was. It wasn't long enough. But they went back to work right away. Now, how are you going to feel? Let's just say it comes back that this report says that it was homicide. Let's just pretend that's what it is. Okay. How do you think that now looks on your mayor and your city council? Can't leave them out because they didn't fight for it. How do you think it looks if the mayor of Monroeville, the CEO, someone who knows better, put officers back to work that were liable for Tee's death? Now, we're saying pretend because we don't know what the SBI says. We don't know if it's saying that his cause of death was that, but let's just pretend it was, right? How would that feel? That means he misjudged, right? How is it that they saw something he didn't with all of the experience he has? That's all alleged. That's why I can't wait for it to come out, the manner of death, so we can have a more in-depth conversation, right? Civil lawsuits. Oh, yeah. Definitely the civil lawsuits have to come. Policy changes, public transparency. I like the policy changes, guys, because a lot of times in these kinds of cases, what happens always is a civil lawsuit happens, but there's also room for them to change some of their policies that obviously don't work. Well, why you don't think they work? Because a man is dead. Okay, so they don't work. Either they don't work or the people don't work. And if the people don't work, the people don't need to be there. That's just how that is. Okay, so that's all for that. I wanted to make sure we got through that. Okay, let me see what comments you guys have or questions. Let's take some of those right now, because I want to make sure that we're on schedule here. Let's see what we got. Let's see what Kim says. If the SBI has enough evidence to determine cause of death, then shouldn't that be enough evidence to decide whether it is? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. If they have enough evidence, that is true. They will definitely charge. We just don't have any idea what evidence they have because the family, no one has seen the body cam footage yet, so it depends on, okay, what do they have? What are they looking at? But yes, if they have enough evidence, including, I hope they have this video, they should file a charge. Tuned in. Good evening, everybody. Hello, Miss LaShondra. It's always good to see you, my dear. Watching from Chicago in the house. Thank you, Lord. I appreciate that. Watching from Monroeville, Alabama. Can the family file a wrongful death lawsuit? Yes. Yes, sir. Absolutely, they can. And there can definitely, because that's usually what happens in these kinds of cases when it's an in-death custody. It usually does follow up with that. Monell versus Department of Social Service of the City of New York. Local governments can be sued directly under 42 U.S.C. section. Yes, that is true. Thank you, Crystal. I appreciate that. A Monell claim will get them together. Yes, it will. 1,000%. Crystal says wrongful death, civil rights violation. Yeah, I want to talk to you guys about some of the examples because I personally think, and I think Crystal and I were talking about this earlier, that Monroeville should file not only the state charges against them, but federal as well, because they violated his civil rights. 1,000%. We can see that. So I really do think that that's what may come from this. Watching from Selma. Hello, Mr. Tyrone. Nice to see you. No justice, no peace. Absolutely, Mr. Mallory. You better believe it. No justice, no peace. And that comes to something too that we have to talk about here. This is a case. I don't think that Monroeville has seen something like this. Because even with Johnny D, that one was that was bad, but that was different. In this case, the man has died. Tee Tunstall is dead because of what happened out there that day. Okay, somebody must have been in their feelings. I don't know what happened in those woods. That remains to be seen. And I'm going to tell you, we're going to find out what happened in those woods when we get that autopsy. Because it should have been clean based on what Mandy said, right? Y'all know what Mandy said. Mandy said he was arrested without incident. Well, then if he was arrested without incident, he shouldn't have any marks, bruises, or anything like that. No broken bones. Anything should be on him. Okay? Now, if it comes back that, let's just pretend it's homicide. If it comes back that way, then that means she lied. That's just as plain as I can put it. That means she lied, right? So let me talk to you guys about some of these examples that I found. You guys remember this guy, right? Everybody remembers this guy, George Floyd. There isn't a person alive that don't remember this case. This guy here, let me tell you, y'all saw the protest, how people just came all out. This man literally killed him in like live TV right there. Like, thank God for the person that was recording this. But let me tell you what happened to him. He put his knee in George Floyd's neck, and obviously it killed him, right? This guy is serving concurrent state and federal sentences for murder and civil rights violations. Now, on the state level, he's serving 22 and a half years. Unintentional second-degree murder, third-degree murder, and second-degree manslaughter. Now, on the federal side, 21 years for violating civil rights of George Floyd. See what happens when people come together, getting as much evidence as we possibly can. I want you guys to share your evidence, even if you don't think it matters. But there's a proper way to do it, though. Don't just call them and say, I have information. No, because they may not even record it. We already know. I'm just saying. Okay. So what I think you should do is get it notarized and submit that statement, and you keep a copy, they get a copy. Okay. Always don't ever give anything to an investigator, officer, or anything without having your copy of it. All right. So if you know something and you want to be anonymous, I mean, please share what you know, because it could make a difference in what they charge and how much time these people get. Okay. For what they did to T. All right. So I already know that there are people that are saying, well, Ella, we already know George Floyd, because some people out here trifling or out here saying that this man died because he was on drugs. Okay. That is not true. The medical examiner's final autopsy concluded that Floyd's death was a homicide caused by cardiopulmonary arrest, complicating law enforcement subdual, restraint, and neck compression, not a fentanyl overdose like they tried to make it seem, right? So I want to show you guys something, because there was another case that I want to share with you about something that happened to another family. This is Devontae Mitchell, because I want you guys to see that, yes, this stuff is out here happening. You know, and it's good to see other cases and see what happened in those cases and how it turned out. I want you guys to see this one right here. Let's watch this.
In a room with journalists and her attorney, Deja Harmon relived her husband's last moments alive.
This is somebody I spent 12 years of my life with. And now I have to watch his life being taken for nothing.
A month after Devontae Mitchell died outside of the Hyatt in downtown Milwaukee, the medical examiner has officially ruled his death a homicide. The cause? Restraint asphyxia and the effects of cocaine and meth.
He wanted to leave. He was trying to leave and they wouldn't let him.
Newly released video inside the hotel shows us the moments leading up to Mitchell's death by strangulation. Inside the hotel, you can see Mitchell running into the gift shop, then down a hallway into the women's bathroom. He's taken out of the bathroom and being escorted by a security guard who then abruptly turns and punches him. Mitchell begins to back away when a hotel guest and that guard begin to hit him repeatedly and take him to the ground. Another camera then shows Mitchell on the ground being dragged through the doors of the hotel. A Hyatt employee begins hitting him with a broom before the security guard resumes punching him in the face. Mitchell is still on the ground as employees take him outside and force him to face down. The medical examiner's report shows he had multiple abrasions on his forehead where his head hit the concrete and broken ribs from being held down. The 4 employees on top of him kept Mitchell in that position for 8 minutes before he died. Attorneys for Mitchell's family now have criminal charges referred to the district attorney's office.
They could have just waited on the police. He could have went to jail. And I would have been okay with taking care of him in air and not having to see him being lowered into the ground.
Well, today after...
So you see, guys, this stuff is real. Let me show you guys the people that did this to him. These are they. See that? These are the 4 men that were charged in that beating, and every single one of them are out of jail today. They're all out of jail. So this thing is real. Here's a story. This is one where we had like a 17-year-old kid. He was 17 years old. His name is Cedric Lofton, 17-year-old in Kansas. He died after being restrained face down in a juvenile detention facility. His death was ruled a homicide, and a detention officer was charged with involuntary manslaughter. But you see here, for those of you that asked about the civil lawsuit, you see that at the end? The jury awarded $8.3 million to the estate of Cedric C.J. Lofton. Now, it comes 4 years after his death. Nonetheless, so you see, this is not just about criminal. This is also about civil. How many of you think that Sharon and her family should go after Monroe County for a civil lawsuit? Say yes in the comments if you think they should. I'll start by saying yes here, live. I definitely think they should. I think that this needs to make a mark in Monroeville, Alabama, that you cannot treat people this way and think you're going to get away with it. There has to be some accountability here. And I'm talking about from the top down. Everybody, nobody gets a pass. Nobody gets a pass in this situation. And I think one of the things that bothered me the most in this story is how people try to turn this into a political thing. You know, that's not going to happen on this show. Okay. I started out talking about Tee, and that's how we're going to keep it. That is what this story is about. Not about nobody else. Yes, yes, yes. All the people say yes. Exactly. This kind of injustice has been going on for years. See, this is the part that gets me. And that is why I created Monroe County Uncovered, because we're going to uncover the stuff. I have somebody that came to me and said, Ella, they have a family member that's in jail right now at the detention facility, has been in there for years, no court date, no nothing. Like, what? Why? Like, what's going on in Monroe? Like, yes, yes, yes. No justice, no peace. Don't let them get away with this. That's right. So you see that, Sharon. If you're watching, Sharon says yes. If you're watching and you really believe that she should go after them this way, guys, I totally 1000% agree. Totally agree. Now, I want to talk about this. I want you guys to see this here. Remember we talked about the charges, what it could be. So I wanted to give up possible charges that could be and what it all means here. Class A felony, they could charge murder. This involves intentionally causing another person's death, or in some instances, acting with extreme indifference to human life. Penalty for that is 10 to 99 years if they go that route, or they could go the manslaughter route. It's a Class B felony. That means that that generally involves recklessly causing another person's death or a killing in the heat of passion under legally recognized circumstances. Now, those are 2 options. And then you have these last 2 options that could be criminally negligent homicide. This is when a person causes a death through criminal negligence rather than recklessness, or assault. If the prosecutors believe unlawful force occurred but can't prove it caused the death, they may go this route. Which one do you think they should charge with? Should they charge with assault, criminally negligent homicide, or manslaughter or murder? Which one do you think? Those are the options right there, guys. Now, everybody, looks like everybody says yes, yes, yes. Has the NAACP got involved yet? This is a very good question. I have not heard anything from the local NAACP chapter in Monroeville, which is a shame. I haven't seen anything happen from the local NAACP, which is a shame. I haven't really seen a whole lot from local in Monroeville, and that's just real talk. I haven't heard anything. That's right, Crystal. Deliberate indifference. That is so true. This girl knows her stuff. She's absolutely right. Deliberate indifference is something too that could be considered in this with these officers. Number 3. Dar says number 3. Okay. All right. Murder. We got some people saying yes, murder. All. So I think that's all important. Now, what I want to do is I want to bring this up. This is Mandy's statement. Let's go back to some of the facts that we know, that we have talked about. We have talked about for over 90 days. Because now that you know a lot more of the facts, then when we go back and look at this, it looks like, oh, wow. So she started out, there's some words that I want to pull out of this. Domestic violence warrants. Now, when you read this statement, right away, they have that at the top. They want to make you think we're dealing with a bad guy, right? I'm just going to show you guys the play of words that this is, the narrative. This is what Monroeville is good for. They love to do that because they did it with Johnny D too. And you see how that turned out, right? So that's why you have to be able to read between the lines and see exactly what they're doing here. Domestic violence warrants. They want you to think this is a bad guy, he's violent, and we were looking for him. That's usually what warrants mean. Nobody's talking about what the warrant was for. Was it a felony warrant? Was it a misdemeanor? We haven't heard anything about that, okay? My guess is that it could be a misdemeanor warrant, which it didn't call for all of this. But I don't know. I'm just saying that allegedly. That's their way of justifying why they were chasing him too. Okay? They're trying to play and keep this calm with this statement. They don't want a panic going on there. Located and taken into custody without incident. These are words coming from your chief of police. Okay? These are her words. Now, if she didn't write this, she should fire the one who told her to write it. Okay? Located and taken into custody without incident. That sounds like what? We didn't do anything to him. We didn't touch him. We just merely caught him in the woods and we just handcuffed him and brought him out of there. Then why was he on his knees? Why couldn't he walk? Why did people say that they heard him screaming for help, saying that he couldn't breathe? Guess who does know? The examiner, the medical examiner. They know why he was yelling for help. And we're going to all find out very soon. Okay? I'll leave that right there. Talking with officers on alert but refused to walk. All of this is in her statement. Talking with officers and refused to walk. Why do you think she said that? She wants you to believe that he was alive when he got in that car. Well, why does she want that, Ella? Because they don't want you to believe that there was excessive force. They can't. They already know that could definitely get them sued, and that can also get them arrested if there's excessive force. So she has to make it look like we didn't touch him. You see what I'm saying? See how that goes? But she can't hide from that report that we're going to see, because that report, he shouldn't have any marks, bruises, broken bones, none of that on him. But y'all stay tuned so we can see what's on that report. What does the SBI forensic report say about Tee's cause of death? That's the stuff you got to listen for coming up soon. Okay. Crystal tells us, let me see here. I think Kim had, let me go back. I want to make sure I get all y'all's comments. All right. All citizens of Monroeville should be in an uproar. Say it, Kim. This is what I'm talking about. Y'all should be in an uproar about what happened to Mr. Tunstall. If it can happen to T, it can happen to you and your family members as well. Cops that commit criminal acts should not be patrolling our streets seeking their next victim. They belong behind bars for life. Amen. That's what I've been screaming this whole time. Why aren't you guys out in an uproar? Why? Is it because you don't have a local leader there to lead a movement? Like, somebody please tell me, why aren't the churches talking about this? Why aren't the ministers out there, talking to their audience and the people that come to church about this? And why isn't anyone talking about this in Monroeville? I don't understand that. Is it fear? Is it because you're afraid they're going to come and do something to your job? Now, I understand, because there are people that have been on my show that have had things happen to them since they were on my show. And I hate that that's happening. But guys, listen, if all of y'all come together, right, there's more of you that are against this than, you know what I'm saying? So why can't someone say, well, you know what, Ella, what can we do? That's what I want to hear. What can we do? And then we will help you guys get something together there. I don't have a problem. I don't even have a problem coming there. Now, I hope I don't, I hope I'm safe when I come there, but I'm not afraid, not at all. But I want to see the fight in y'all too. This happened to a young man, and I don't care what he has done, what you may think he has done, what you know he has. I don't care about that. He deserved his civil rights that day. That day, he did not deserve to die. You arrest him and you go through the system of what it takes to get him arrested and tried and all that kind of stuff. But you are not judge and jury. And I'm telling y'all, one day we're going to talk about where policing came from, and then it's going to all start to make sense. Okay, y'all know police were just slave watchers. That's a whole different show. All right. Thank you, Kim, for that. Polly says yes. So it looks like everybody's still saying yes. Hello, Jennifer. Good evening to you. Renee says yes. All right. So it looks like most of you are saying that yes, they should be charged. We have a murder here. Crystal says, when did Monroeville start issuing domestic violence warrants? When men have been killing women and beating them for decades. I don't know. I've never heard of a domestic violence warrant, to be honest with you. That's a good question, Crystal. Like, what was it that they had a warrant for that they just had to do that and couldn't get him on another day? Oh, we'll catch him. We'll get him another day. And just, right? Domestic violence warrant. Yeah, that's. I wish we knew what the warrant was for. Rochelle, what's going on in Monroeville is your question. Well, in my community, meaning Black people, they're divided and conquer and being oppressed by this system. So they are lost and afraid. Yes, they will come on here and talk, but will never show up to a protest to speak for Black people who are wronged by this system. I want to know why. I see what's happening. I want to know why it's happening, because I saw the protest that was out there, and it was like a measly, maybe 15 tops people out there. I don't understand why that is. I mean, you guys got to talk to me. Tell me what it is. Amen. Why? They're played off by the system to help oppress us. So they're paid off by the system to help. Well, I hope not. I hope that's not what's going on. So he became unresponsive. This is where it gets cloudy. Now, based on this show, if you guys saw Selena Thomas, if you didn't, I'm going to bring her back at some point so she can say it again. But she was on this show before. And the reason I wanted to bring her in is because I know she was out there that day, because I saw her on the news. So we were able to get her to come on this broadcast, and I wanted to know what she saw. This is very crucial, her testimony. Her testimony is very crucial because she was on the scene. And she spoke to the officers that were dragging T. So she was able to testify to their state of mind. And on the show, she said this, that when she was speaking to the officers, she was saying, hey, listen, can I get his phone? Can I tell him to call me or whatever? That she was trying to tell them, because she called out for him and he didn't answer. And she said he would have definitely answered if he could. And so the officers were saying, if he gets a call. I don't know. Maybe he wants to go back to the mental ward. Right? So what is that? If he gets a call. So that would mean that you're wanting to punish him even further. If everyone is due their right to get a call, why would you restrict him from it? Because you're mad? Because you had to chase him? See what I'm saying? That's their state of mind. Then she witnessed them hurry up and put him in the vehicle. And she is the one witness that said they put him in the car face down. Now, anybody that knows anything about pepper spray or anything like that, because that's alleged, is something that happened, that he was pepper sprayed and tased. If that happens, you have to immediately sit them up and call the meds, okay? Because now they need to be able to breathe again. So if you put them face down, what do you think is going to happen? You're going to speed up their death because you're restricting their chest from being able to breathe. Why face down? Why wasn't he sitting up? If you say he was alive and alert and talking to the officers before he got in the car, come on, Mandy. I've personally talked to you, Mandy, a couple of times about some stuff in the past, and I can't believe that you put that statement out. I was very disappointed because you know none of it was true. Okay, that was just crazy. All right, so that's one of the things too. He became unresponsive after getting in the vehicle. Now, Selena said that day that when they put T in that car, they stood around. I've even had a witness tell me that the lady, the female, she went back to the woods. Her and someone else. Okay? So why weren't they in a hurry? So you mean to tell me it was when they got back in the car, they saw he was unresponsive, and is that when they gave him Narcan? So if you got in the car and saw him unresponsive, why would you take him to jail? It just seems the most logical thing would be, let's take him to the hospital if we notice he's unresponsive. So in other words, they made it seem like he was unresponsive when they got to the jail, but it seems like he became unresponsive when they got in the car. Okay? Everybody saw his head fall. Many believe that was the moment he took his last breath. I don't know. None of us were really there to check his pulse. Okay? But they said he was unresponsive. Narcan. See, this is what could have happened. They realized they were riding around with a corpse in the car. He was already gone. So they decided, well, let's see if we can push him off, go to the jail. They refused for him to come in there. And then you guys call EMT. What I believe is that when they made that call to EMT, he was already gone. They had to do that to make it look good because the jail said that's what you're supposed to do. So that's what they did. But he was already gone, allegedly, right? And that's based on stuff that we've gotten from people that are at the jail that, yeah, he was already dead. So I just wanted to bring this back up and revisit this conversation because I think it's so important. So let me pull some of you guys' comments from over here. Like I said, this is our show tonight. Crystal says, the Black church is a parasite on the community and a useless institution. The Black church that fueled the civil rights movement is long gone. Monroeville has never stood up for anything. Black leaders from Monroeville met Martin Luther King at the Monroe-Wilcox County line and told him not to come to Monroeville because Monroeville had no problems. That is something, guys. That is something right there. And I've heard this before, that this is what happened in Monroeville, that Martin Luther King came there. I tend to agree that we don't have any Black leaders in Monroeville because if I sit here to think about who can I call to team up with us if we wanted to do something, I don't even know who that would be. And I'm not being funny. I really don't know because I haven't seen anyone come forward. I've seen people go to the city council and pray with them and all that, and I'm not knocking that. But what I'm saying is if city council isn't calling you to come and help make some kind of reform in the Black community where this man died in custody of their police, then there's nothing you can say to me. I don't want to hear it. Don't call me to come do that. That sounds like Nat Turner to me. That's how they use Nat Turner. Just saying. I mean, I'm just calling it like it is. I'm sorry if anybody's offended by that, but I'm calling it like it is because they call on us for certain things. I'm going to just take it back to history. I'm not even going to talk about what happened in Monroe. I'm going to take it back to history. When they called on Nat Turner, what did they call him for? I just want to hear from you Black history scholars out there. Why did they call on Nat Turner in the first place? What did they need him for? They needed him to use the Bible to get the slaves under control. I need you to talk to them, tell them, obey your masters, for this is right. Whatever you got to give them in that Bible to make them submit, I need you to do that. So sometimes gestures made when there's fire, when there's problems, when we feel like there may be an uprising, they will use something that calms people down. And what better to use than religion? I'm gonna leave that one with y'all. Because if you can't call me to come and make some reform, I want you to call me and find out what's going on in the Black community. What do y'all need? Tee Tunstall died over there by our officers. What is it that we can do? What do you think that we need to do more of? What to make sure that this doesn't happen again? I don't see anybody calling y'all for that. Why not? See, that's the kind of stuff that makes us lose because we don't realize we're being used. Don't let nobody use you. You will never get the people here in Monroe to support each other. As a leader, trained to leader, a community of people, you only get people who talk about you, but never approve of your support. Why? Because, Ella, they have a mindset that you know more than them and you will not receive the support you deserve. Guys, listen. This could easily happen again. It could easily happen again if you don't get some kind of reform and get some kind of courage in your belly and in your soul to be outraged by this. Every single person that's on this Facebook watching this live tonight, you should find out, what can I do? What can I do to make sure that I'm on the right side of history on this? We are making history right now, and we can't miss this moment. We have to capitalize on it, but you got to do something. You can't be afraid to speak out. We need to be able to say, yes, we want charges. Everybody needs to start saying that. Yes, we want charges filed against those officers. Make a big fuss about it. Because let me tell you something. They don't really care that I'm saying it because I don't live in Monroe. They're just like, she's just an outside agitator. That's what they've already called me anyway. Okay? But they need to know you're with me. They need to know that you guys feel the same way. And you know how they're going to know that? Post it on your pages. Make noise about it. Call the DA's office. We want charges filed. We're demanding that. This man died in the police custody. And not only that, you should be even more outraged that they're back on the beat. And I'm getting calls that some of them are still out here trifling and making and doing stuff they shouldn't be doing. Didn't he say that they were going to be supported by a supervisor or something? Where is the mayor anyway? Uh-oh. I don't want to go there. Sorry. Just saying. We talked about it last week, that there was rumors that he's not even running the city. But we don't know. That's alleged. Some people don't want to rock the boat where they have to live. Comfort zone. Then you get what if you do what you've always done, you're going to get what you've always got. Me. I'm just sorry. That's just who are the city council members? Who are the city council members? Thelma McDaniel is the city council member for this area where this happened over Marengo Street. You have Anthony Thomas is a city council member. You have Ruffin. Ken Ruffin is a city council member. Melvin Focal, Al Bruton is a city council member. Have I missed someone? I'm not sure. But yeah, that's who they are. Yeah, y'all should call them. I'm the only Black leader. Okay. They came by me. All right. Renee says, the officers are the judge and jury, and they already made the decision that he was guilty, just like they did to Walter Lett and Walter McMillan. Absolutely, Renee. We covered both of those stories here on the Ella Johnson Show. Walter Lett, that was 1934, and the reason for the book To Kill a Mockingbird. See, they don't tell you about the real story. No. They like to tell you that version that you guys celebrate every year at the play. No, that story, and even the author said this, it was based on Walter Lett. Because Walter Lett was a Black man that was accused of rape right there in Monroe. Isn't that something how that's always seems to be the thing that starts all the fuss? Just saying. He was accused of rape. They really were kind of like looking at it like, but he was accused of rape. He thought he could get a fair trial, so he decided to go to trial. Within minutes, they found him guilty, sent him to die. No evidence. I mean, absolutely no evidence. And this happened in Monroeville. See, I think part of the problem, you guys don't realize that you're dealing with a city that's done this stuff before, and nobody did anything about it. That's why it's continuing to happen. No, you need to have a reputation in Monroeville. Don't bring that here. No. We're not allowing that in Monroeville. Not anymore. You've lynched 17 black men right down there on the courthouse. You guys are still getting off work early on Thursdays because they're still remembering when they used to lynch Negroes. Okay, you're getting off work at 12 o'clock on Thursday. That's the time they used to do that. You're living in a city where they really haven't cared much about you, but yet you support all of their plays. You support all of the stuff that they're doing. I'm not trying to turn this into a race thing, but what I'm trying to let you see is that you got to start fighting and standing up for what you want. Stop letting them just walk over you guys. And just say, this is what it is. Don't start making phone calls to the DA. Call the city council. Bug the hell out of them. Call them until they finally just get tired of it. So, okay, fine. We'll call some kind of hearing. My God. And then when they do that, y'all got to show up. You got to start making a difference. Listen, to make a difference, you got to be different. I'm going to say that again. To make a difference, you have to be different. All right. Crystal says the prominent black citizens are not going to lose their status on the plantation. Hell, that's what the preachers are for now. Pastor will never go against Master. Okay. Nat Turner trusted not one of them. He had a vision. He said God told him to kill all of them. Yep. But they used him first. Yes, we want charges filed against those officers. Thank you, Teresa, for saying that. So what I want y'all to do, share this broadcast and type that. Yes, we want charges filed against those officers. In Monroe, be specific. And then hashtag Tee Tunstall. Justice for T. Okay, guys, we got to start doing that because this stuff spreads and it gets to the people that need to see. This is what we need. For anyone that's listening that's from higher government, what we need in Monroeville is oversight. We need federal oversight into this town, because there's so much going on there that I don't even think you guys realize that's going on. I'm getting a lot of people that's talking to me about some of the things, and it's blowing my mind that this stuff is happening right up under all these elected officials' noses. Like, how is it passing all of you? That's why I don't sit here and be like, oh, I hate Monroe police and I love this. I'm not going to do any of that, because all of them, the system, like I've always talked about, this system is corrupt, and we have to break this cycle. We have to break it. If a mule dies, buy another one. If a nigger dies, hire another one. That's the value of a black life. Okay. What are the comments we got here? Liz says, Ella, I spent 30 years in St. Louis, Missouri, and moved in 2015 after Mike Brown's death. I am a soul warrior for Christ, and we walked the streets and neighborhoods speaking to gang members and had so much support. Down here with no support, I let it go. But you have lit a flame again. Keep in touch with me. Well, Liz, I definitely want to keep in touch with you, because then maybe we can start something there, work together, and get a group of people that want to work together. Because listen, we're not depending on the black leaders to do anything. Let me make that very clear. Pastors, we are not depending on you. We're just kind of hoping you'd want to join in this civil rights movement, because that's kind of what's going on here. This is about the civil rights of a young man, and his rights were violated clearly. And if you guys can't get a part of that, I don't see how you have anybody sitting in your church. I'm just being honest, because your message is mixed. Like, either you love or you don't, because the same love that you give to that person sitting in your pew tithing is the same love you should show to Tee Tunstall. He deserved it too. So that's why I'm confused. Really, Monroeville really needs resurfacing with new city council members. Yeah, that I definitely agree with. Justice for T. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Where's the mayor? I don't know. It came up last week because I asked a question, because Stephen was on my show last week, and I asked the question about we started talking about the swearing in. He was out here swearing somebody in, and the question was, well, where's the mayor and that stuff that he does? and Al Bruton is the mayor pro tem. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on in Monroeville. I mean, you guys should definitely start asking questions, because if you got a mayor that's MIA, I mean, come on, it really just resign and just go and let someone else take care of things. But you guys should start making demands on your leaders, for real. They're paid. They're elected by you, okay? And not one person in that city council thought anything to do with this Tee Tunstall situation. Let's see what happens, because everybody kept saying, Ella, just wait for the SBI. Just wait for the SBI report to come back, and then they'll probably do something. Okay, it's back. Now what? It's back. Let's see. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Liz says, it's a dream that came true and a promise I made to Jesus. Ella, I look forward to speaking more with you. All right, Liz, we're going to definitely chat. I appreciate you. Write the church a big check and the preacher will show up. Now, you know, Crystal might be right for that. No, guys, listen, I just, I don't try to go hard on the preachers, but I do have a certain level of expectation out of them, because I remember when we were growing up in Monroeville, for those of you that remember like me, we had preachers that stood up for issues that were happening in the Black community. And I don't know why we don't have that. Everybody wants to be all friends and sit at the table and all this foolishness, right? What good if you're sitting at the table? I mean, what good is that if you don't do? See, this is the thing. I believe that God will make room for you to enter the room. Okay? He wants you in the room to change, to make a change. But what happens is people get the big head and they get in the room and they let the room change them. Y'all get that? You're so happy to be in the room amongst this group of people. You've been asked to come and do this, and you feel so good. Sometimes they're not asking you to come because they really care about what you think. They're just saying, look, we asked, you were in the room, but don't speak. See, when you get into a room and you can start making a difference in that room, that's something to brag about. How many people in Monroeville, and I'm just asking this question, I want y'all to tell me, how many people in Monroeville, because I don't know, have been asked anything about Tee Tunstall's situation and what we can do to make it better? Has the city even tried to talk about this at all, to try to make a difference, to make it better, to make sure it doesn't happen again? Not even the people that you elected in that area? Nobody? I'm just saying. Let's see what else we got here. All Black politicians and public figures are figureheads. They have no power and cannot do anything for the constituents. That's a shame. Do they have monthly city hall meetings that's open to the public? Yes, James, they do. Yes. And what you guys have to do is make a request so you can be heard at those city council meetings. Now, what I've been told is they kind of monitor what you're going to say, that they don't have to allow you to say what you're saying. That's crazy. I've never seen that. I've never seen where you go to a city council meeting and you can't say what's really on your mind. Why are they trying to curtail that in Monroeville? Why are they trying to keep you from saying what you really want to say? Why? Don't y'all want the truth? You need to know what the citizens think. Just saying. They're all gone, just like all of the big mamas. The big mama's gone. None. You can kick a handkerchief head bigger in the ass as long as you pat them on the head. Crystal always comes with it. None of them did. Nobody is saying anything. That would just disturb me. The community is not going to get involved until the civil suit comes around. And here comes the GoFundMe. Well, I hope not. I hope that you guys will take what we've learned tonight and realize that this is something that it takes an entire community to get involved and make a difference. It's going to take all of us. Like, seriously, guys. It really is. Because at the end of the day, like I said, this could easily happen again. And then what? Then where will we be? Will we be here trying to do this again, begging people to get involved? If you're sitting there and you're watching this broadcast and you know you should be doing something to get involved and something you can do to offer your assistance in this, please do so. If you're good at organizing and getting people together, please reach out to me, because I will work with you guys, but we can't do it all. Here on the Ella Johnson Show, I am committed, and I made my commitment to Sharon and her family that I am here for the long haul on this. And I'm going to keep bringing this to the screen so that you guys we can keep this conversation going. Because I'll be honest with you guys, a very good friend of mine who I trust dearly is the one that brought this to my attention. Okay. He brought this to my attention and he showed me the video. That's where I got it from, because I didn't know of this case. And there was something that I saw pulled at my heartstrings. And then not only that, but just the voice from God saying, yes, you have to get involved and you have to stick with this until it's over, no matter what anyone says. And see, God know I got that part down pat, because I don't care what anyone says. So we're here. We're here. Monroeville needs help. Because minutes are taken and are public record. Yes, the minutes are taken and are public record. So yeah, Crystal saying, to answer the question, why is it that they don't like to share something? Yeah, it's true. That's crazy that you can't just say what you really want to say. What's the purpose of coming up there if I got to say what you want me to say? No justice, no peace. Guys, you know what? I like that cliche, no justice, no peace, but do you know what it means? Have you guys really thought about what no justice, no peace really means? It means that I'm tired of doing things the way they used to be. And if they're going to stay this way, you're not going to rest. Posting on Facebook is not enough. You guys got to get involved. You can do this starting tomorrow. Call the DA's office. Hey, I'm just calling to see what you guys plan to do with this. I mean, are you filing charges? The people want to see. If enough of you guys call and say that you expect to see charges filed against those officers. I'm not saying he's going to make his decision based on public pressure, but it will remind him that we're not just sitting here doing nothing, that we are watching. And we are watching. Okay. I'm committed to this as well. Thank you, Anthony. I appreciate that. Ella, I am a lead organizer trained by AIF Chicago, Illinois, and I will give you more of my gifts and talents. Well, Liz, I am so glad, because I think you just messaged me right before the show, and I'm so glad that you're here, dear. So it looks like you live in Monroeville from Chicago, and you're ready to go. See, guys, she's ready to go. That's what I'm talking about. That's what it takes. We can't sit around and wait on NAACP in Monroeville. We can't wait on the city council. Can't wait on the pastors. We have to do this because so many grassroots efforts have been successful. In fact, I think that it was the grassroots efforts that led to the civil rights movement and the Civil Rights Act being signed. Yeah, it was Rosa Parks and all of that, but the civil rights, the grassroots efforts played a big part as well. That's where we are right now. That's who we are. We're the grassroots. Okay. So we can do it. And I am definitely willing to do whatever is necessary for us to get the word out. We don't stand. Who else will? I'm with everything. So Anthony, so Liz, you see, Anthony, I'm going to go back to these messages and we're going to reach out to you guys and we'll form our own little chat group on Facebook and we'll just kind of share some things on what we can do behind the scenes as well to start making some noise in Monroeville. You guys got to do this because if you don't do it, no one else will. No one else will. Thank you, Ella. I have waited on you. Amen, sister. I have waited on you too. So I just wanted to come tonight to you guys. I'm not going to be here long tonight because I have to get some meds. But I just want to make sure that you guys understand what happens now that the DA has this case. And he is the person who will decide if these guys are charged and with what they'll be charged. So it's important for us to let him know that we expect. Anthony says, I'm with the fight because it could have been me. That's right. That's what I'm talking about. Tell the black folks in Monroeville to cut up about the civil rights violation like they got mad and cut up about that damn tailgate party being canceled. Oh, now Crystal, love to start some mess. My girl, Crystal. Now, you know what? Thank you, Crystal. I'm glad you said that because I have a lot of information. I know about this tailgate thing being canceled and how everybody was so mad about that. First of all, she's absolutely right about that because we have our priorities in the wrong place. Like, we're so ready to fight because they decided they didn't want to do a tailgate so people can go out there and smoke and get high and get drunk on the city grounds, on school grounds, because it is against the law to do that. And we were mad about that they're trying to give some structure, not take it away, but take away the freedom to do it all night and drinking and all that, interrupting the game. That's what it was all about. And like what she's saying here is you guys cut up so much about that. People cut up so much about that, but we can't cut up about the civil rights violations. So many of your civil rights violations are being violated. So many of your civil rights are being violated based on the stuff I'm hearing. And I know you guys got to be tired of being sick and tired. You got to be sick and tired of being sick and tired, right? Thank you, Anthony, for your number. Call me. Okay, tell them, Crystal. She knows. Yeah, I said it. Why they wasn't at the protest. I think that, I mean, we can all sit here and guess about why people didn't show up at the protest. And I mean, it's hard to keep doing that because the young man who was doing this protest doesn't even live in Monroeville. He lives out of town, and he was taking his time away from his family to come to Monroeville and stand up for the people in Monroeville, and the people in Monroeville didn't even show up. So, I mean, you had some people out there. Thank you to the ones that showed up, but that wasn't enough, guys. Y'all got to show up at some of these city council meetings and make some noise. Make them get aggravated. Make them agitate the hell out of them. So they're like, you guys are sitting here listening to the Ella Johnson show, and you're coming out here with all this foolishness. Yes, yes, yes. Ella would be coming herself if she could. Yes. Because you guys have sat in those seats and you're not doing anything about the situation. If I dare you, I double dog dare you to call a public hearing and hear from your citizens. Give them free room to talk, give them free room to ask you questions, and they'll do it. I don't even have to be there for that. Okay? Why? What are you afraid of? Why can't you guys do your job? That is what city councils are for. You open up a public hearing for the people. Like, everybody in the country does that, but y'all in Monroeville. Is it because you don't know? Or is it because you don't care? Or is it because you think the people don't know? Well, I'm telling them. I'm going to make sure they know what they can do. And what you guys can do is call to Ms. McDaniel tomorrow. Any of them. I don't care which ones you call. Say, look, can y'all pull a public hearing together so we can ask some questions? We want to know about we're scared that the police may do something to us one day. What rights do we have? What is your policy? Y'all know how impossible they made it to get the policy, the police department policy? You know how I know? Because a few people have told me they couldn't get it, that they wanted to see what it said for their own personal reasons. And they blocked everything they could. And it says that is your right as a citizen of Alabama to get that. So why are they making it so difficult? What is in there that you guys don't want us to see? I'll tell you what's probably in there. They're going to let us see that, and we'll see that they violated their own policies. Oh, yeah. 1,000% of it. They violated their policies. They probably violated APOST policies as well, because they're the one that mandated for the state, right? So if they violated their own policies, come on now, they don't need to be police officers. That's what I'm trying to say, right? Tell them to get mad at that like they got mad at me. Yeah, exactly, Crystal. I hear you. The protest wasn't organized and would not be taken seriously. Yeah, I think I tend to agree with that too. When you're having a protest, you want to definitely make sure the media is there. You want to make sure that you have your speakers lined up, and you want to make sure that you've actually invited the people to come there. Like, they should have received an email or a letter or something. If you're going to talk about the mayor, you should have invited him to be there, and then you can say he's not there. Now, I don't know if they did any of that or not, so just please help me understand. I apologize if they did, but I'm just saying it has to be organized. Yeah, you got to make sure you got people that's going to show up. Okay, you can't just go off a whim and just hope and pray. No, because then it won't be taken seriously. They'll look at you like you're crazy. Like, man, how many people they got out there? 10. They ain't going back to work. You say they're not serious. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's real talk. They have to, it has to be enough to make them want to give you answers. Like, look at the little boy that got killed over in Mississippi. You see how fast they turned that around? Because the people made noise and they didn't want it getting out of hand. And they're like looking at all of the people that weren't coming to Walmart. Walmart was losing a lot of business. So they're like, nah, y'all better get this stuff together. We can't lose business like this. So they have to be losing something before they take you guys seriously. All right. Exactly. I'm coming. Yes, Lord, you're right. Okay, Anthony. Well, we're going to be dependent on you. A lot didn't know what or how. Okay. They knew. This is a generational thing. See and don't see. Yeah. I think that this is what it boils down to. Guys, listen, we're not just doing this for us. We're doing this for the generation that has to come behind us. Your children's children are going to come through this system that we refuse to change. And they're going to be getting dragged by police officers. You know what I'm saying? And that's just real. That's what really happens. And we have to do something about that. I can't believe that we can't do something about that. Sharon says, and for those of you that don't know, Sharon is the mother of Tee Tunstall. She says, help is needed. It could have been your child. My lawyers are working, but if anyone saw something, say something. It's really appreciated. Absolutely. And I ditto that because this is the time to talk. This is the time because the DA needs all of the evidence that he can get so that they can prosecute this case and charge them with the right charges. But the video may or may not be enough. It's enough to prove that they didn't do some things right. But we need as much evidence. If you know something and if you know that these officers are still out here wilding out, you need to also be on the phone. Because if these guys, this is why it's so difficult for me, because I know what the cause of death is, but I can't say it. But because I know what the cause of death is for T, it angers me that the mayor returned these guys to work. That was a bad call on his part. And I'll tell him that. If you're looking at this show, sir, that was a bad call. And I think you know it was a bad call, but I think you cared more about their family than you did about Sharon's family. And that's probably because you probably never called or cared to apologize on behalf of the city of Monroeville that her son was dead. You sent all these different people to her home and where are they? Okay. So yeah. The Monroeville, they knew about the protest. I know I'm from Monroeville. Okay. I salute. Well, I mean, I think that, okay, if that protest didn't work, it's time to get another one going. And Liz, I think that you would be great to lead that because you are organized and you know how to do it. So you and I and Anthony and anyone else that wants to join that conversation, inbox me because I'm going to create a chat group for the people that are organizing. Okay. And once we start doing something, maybe Monroeville NAACP, maybe city council, maybe other people will get involved. But we don't need them. Okay. We don't need them. We can do this. Teresa says, amen. All right, guys. Well, I'm definitely going to get out of here because I'm coughing. I don't want to start coughing a lot on this broadcast. But I appreciate you guys for tuning in tonight. I hope that you were able to learn something from what we shared with you tonight about what happens next. So I hope that you guys will get involved. But stay tuned. We'll be back again. We're going to keep talking about this. Anybody that wants to come on the broadcast and share your views here with the audience, you are more than welcome to do so. But I am definitely... Doris says, amen. I'm here 10 toes down. All right. We got Anthony. We got Liz. Can I have another? We have Rochelle. He's on board. Okay. That's all it takes, guys. Just a few people that are faithful. But I appreciate you all so much for tuning in to the Ella Johnson Show. Is there anything anyone else want to add before we get out of here tonight? Let me make sure I've added everything I wanted to say. I just wanted to make sure that you guys were aware of what happens now with the DA so that you don't have to assume. because I just truly believe in making sure you know, and everything I find out, I'm going to make sure you know, because we're going to be transparent here on the Ella Johnson Show. It may not show up in the newspaper, but it will show up here on the Ella Johnson Show. We're going to make sure that you guys are informed, okay? All right, guys. Well, we're going to get out of here. Thank you, Anthony. I'm going to start that chat group, me, you, and Liz, and then we're going to just start adding people. So if you'd like to be added in that chat group, please, by all means, message me so we can include you. All right? Okay, guys. Well, y'all have a great evening. When will the report be released? The reason the report is not released right now, this is what I started the show with, James. This is the letter that I received from ADFS, because when you request, they have to approve for you to get the report. This is the report that I was trying to get. And of course, they said it was denied at first. Then they came back and said, well, we got to check with the DA. This is the last letter I received where they said, okay, well, the DA reached out to us and said this. Let me make it bigger so you guys can see it. The DA, Todd Watson, has notified the Alabama Department of Forensic Sciences that the case remains under criminal investigation. That letter came out yesterday. Okay, so that means that the DA has been in touch with them and said that it's under criminal investigation. So that sounds like to me like they're going to charge somebody. All right. Thank you. And the viewers. Yes. Okay. All right. Does that answer your question? Good night, all. All right, guys. Well, listen, thank you so much for tuning into the Ella Johnson Show. I appreciate you all so much. Please share the broadcast. Please like. We need more views. We need more support so that this show can reach everyone. Like I said, I would love to share my broadcast with the DA, with Selena's testimony, because I think it's crucial. And you get it out of her own words, you know, what she stated, what she saw and witnessed out there that day. All right. So I want to appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Sharon, just want you to know we love you. You and Miss Josephine and all of your family. We are in it with you till the end. That is my commitment, my personal commitment from the Ella Johnson Show. All right, guys, y'all have a great evening, and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Ella Johnson Show. We'll see you next time.
We are supporters of the Ella Johnson Show. We live in South Korea. We have been watching Ella Johnson Show for like a year now. And we love her show. Her show is very inspirational, motivational, and educational.
If you would like to be a guest on the Ella Johnson Show, send an email to theellajohnsonshow@gmail.com or send a text message to 407-334-6997.
We love Ella Johnson Show.